Well, my comments will be brief because I primarily want to thank all of you for taking the time to join the Prime Minister and me. I'm very glad we could coordinate this with my visit to Moldova. It's only a brief trip, but it turns out I'm the first World Bank president to come to Moldova. And perhaps like many of you, I was drawn because I think the Prime Minister and his team are trying to add a broad-based momentum to reforms all across the country. But I'm particularly pleased that in addition to any background that the World Bank can share, we've brought together some extraordinary people from around the world. I want to thank in particular former Prime Minister Madlar of Estonia. I first visited Estonia in 1990, but then I had a chance to return about 5 or 6 years ago. And I saw a huge change because of a very innovative government, including a cabinet room where paper had been banned because of all business was done on the screen. I'm very pleased that my friends from Singapore can join, Mr. Song. I also visited Singapore for the first time in 1990, about 20 years ago, and it's an extraordinary success story. Sometimes when students talk to me about development, I suggest that one of the best things they can do is read Lee Kuan Yew's memoirs. But we also have people who've not only discussed this in the general sense of information technology, but have made it work in the public and the private sector. So I thank Mr. Zoellick and Mr. Townsend, Mr. Chisinau, and also our friends from Qatar. As probably all of you know, sometimes people get very excited about the potential of information technology. But what I've seen in both the public and the private sector is the critical task is how you integrate it into your systems and operations, whether it be business or public sector. When economists look at productivity statistics, they often point to a surge of productivity in the 1990s. Now, computers and personal computers had been around for a long time before that. But it took a number of years, even decades, for people to figure out how to integrate it effectively into their business systems to get the productivity gains. It's not unusual when people start these that they keep the old system because they want to be secure and they put the new one next to it, so they have two systems. But when it works, people have drawn the analogy to the introduction of electricity, which also took a while to be able to integrate into systems. So the thing I really appreciate is we've got people that have practical experience here about how to integrate it into governments, but also the perspective from the private sector. Because I think from the Prime Minister's perspective, the question is how can Moldova improve services to people? How can they improve management? But we've also learned these systems have a number of other benefits. They improve the transparency of government, and that means they can help fight corruption. So this is an opportunity for all of us to learn from all of you. It's why the World Bank launched this eTransform initiative. And then we hope this can also drive other aspects of change in the Moldovan economy and society. As probably many of you know, the mobile telephony is pretty good, but there's room for improvement in terms of broadband access. As the Prime Minister mentioned, connecting with cross-border international systems. And sometimes governments and business don't like this, but competition is what makes people better. So I want to thank all of you again, and I want to thank the Prime Minister. He's got a very ambitious agenda from agriculture to information technology, but I think the people of Moldova have waited for a number of years, and so it's a wonderful time to see if we can make these advances. Thank you.